Do you want to get hired as a sorcerer in the recruiting world? Then you need to think like someone that's interviewing for a sorcerer. Check out this video right now and find out how to get that job. Hey, welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brianna Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. If you haven't seen this channel before, it's all about making you the next millionaire recruiter, or at least getting in the recruiting industry, because it could not be better. I definitely do these videos every Thursday at noon, so like, subscribe if you want to know anything and everything about the recruiting world, especially if you want to know tech. This is definitely where it's at, but I like to cover all sorts of different topics, recruiting, everything basically. So definitely check that out, and definitely keep sending me, LinkedIn requests and ideas for videos because it's super fun. But I wanted to attack today really how to get prepared for a sourcing role. I think there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with being a sorcerer, because if you're great at all that stuff, you're just gonna move up in the recruiting world, because there's so many roles that you can do right now. There's recruiter, there's VP of people, there's head of talent, there's talent acquisition teams. I mean, there's just so many different positions. Go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn, and go just check out the recruiting world in general. We are like we are needed and we are behind. So as I am hiring for sorcerers myself, please apply. On LinkedIn for sure. But I start to think, what am I really looking for when I'm hiring a sorcerer or recruiter? We're going to focus a little bit more on sorcerers, but again, as your recruiter, you are still sourcing as well. So you do still need to know these skills, and this can still apply to you. So I definitely want to get in the mindset of the person that I'm talking to, and make sure that what I think is acceptable and like standard and the beliefs of the recruiting industry, I want to make sure that we are on the same page there. Because you need to like walk and talk like each other. And I'm not saying we all need to be the same. I'm just saying that our mindset about recruiting in general, what we do, needs to fit, because long term, that's extremely important. I originally got into the recruiting world because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I needed to make a lot of money because I wanted to actually open up my own clothing store. Completely irrelevant. But so at the time I got in for the money, and then I realized, whoa, this is an impactful career. This is something that's really needed. And that's why I do these videos, is because I pay it forward, because I want to get more people involved in this, because I didn't realize what a powerful industry this was. I fell into it. So now when I recruit for my own company, I make sure that our mindsets are the same and that they're doing it for the same reason, because that's super, super, super important to me. Another thing that's really important to me, if you're going to be in the recruiting world, is you have to have excellent writing skills. I do talk about this in a number of my videos, and you really need to make sure that you can speak through email, that your personality comes out through email, and you're very precise and you have the right context. Because a lot of times we type as we feel, and sometimes we feel without context. You just assume that the other side knows what you're talking about. So you have to really spell it out for people and be very, very, very direct, while also coming across very warm. So first step of any kind of recruiting process, it doesn't matter whether you're a coordinator, recruiter, or sorcerer on the ops team, they have to have good writing skills. So download Grammarly. So another thing that I really, really, really care about is people that have the mindset quality over quantity. As a sorcerer, you're definitely going to have your KPIs. Your company is going to tell you, hey, you need to reach out to 20 people. Let's say you have a 10% response rate. You reach out to 200 people with a 10% response rate. You're going to get 20 people back, and hopefully those 20 people are quality, and you have good conversations, they're good resumes, they're a fit for the clients that you work with, because that's really, really, really important, and that saves clients a lot of time. You don't want to work at an agency where they just, shoot off that spaghetti at the wall and just hope that something sticks. You don't want to waste your client's time. That is one of the most powerful things I think that my firm does, and that I want to make sure whoever joins, or whatever sorcerer or recruiter joining, feels the same way. Sometimes you get lucky, but you definitely want more quality. And last, number 4, a very, very, very important thing to me is someone that reaches out for help sooner rather than later, and also loves Googling things. I know that's like anyone can Google. That is actually not a common trait that I have now come to find. As a sorcerer, you have to be really resourceful. In any recruiting role that you're in, you have to be on top of it, because here's the bottom line. Clients are not going to go through the trouble of figuring out what recruiters do on a regular basis. You as a sorcerer and a recruiter are the specialists. So if you don't know something, if the hiring manager is like just going on and on and on really, really fast, and there's a few words you don't know, you type them out, write them down however you flow, and you Google it. Or you ask right off the bat in order to make sure that everything is clear and there's no miscommunication. Because a lot of times, well, I think in actually any role, any position, there's so much miscommunication, and that can just lead to a complete disaster. So if you want an ace this interview, you need to make sure that you Google things. You'll just be a better person, I think, in life. So definitely do that. Another question, that I will definitely ask is I'll say, hey, how do you approach a new job rec, new job description, new fill, like however they word it. You have to really be thoughtful in this response, because anyone on the other side is gonna know if you're just bullshitting, that you don't know what you're talking about. You cannot be vague with this. You have to be very precise. Lots of times I'll get a job description and I'll quickly highlight, or, or have it on one screen, just highlight over there on the other side with your computer and say, okay, this is what they're looking for. This is what I need. Or hopefully, even better, you're talking to the client and you're not even looking at the job description, because honestly, job descriptions are either just wish lists, they're taken from another company, they're just stolen. That happens a lot. Or they're too light on what they need. So you need to get very precise. Also, what you want to make sure you tell them that you do is that you go on their own team. You research their team, which, by the way, I found out is a new role. I have never heard of this. I've never sideloaded these roles, but you can also be a researcher for sorcerers. So interesting. But as a sorcerer, make sure you do your own research for sure, unless you're super lucky and you have someone doing that for you. But I wouldn't think so. Another thing that you're definitely going to be asked when doing this sourcing interview or even recruiter interview is, what are your favorite tools to use? Obviously, I love LinkedIn more than anything, but what you're not going to want to say is, if you're currently a sorcerer, you're not going to want to say Monster or Dice, which is just a job board, or Indeed. I mean, that's great to scrape through things, but really, that doesn't look great to an employer, because that just shows that your employer is spending a ton of money on job postings and job boards, when really that's like low-hanging fruit at this point. You want to be really clear that you're going to go poach. You're going to go find these people on LinkedIn. You're going to go find them on GitHub or wherever you find them, that you use the GEM tool or whatever. So Google, if you don't have cool recruiting tools, Google them right now. No, after this video, but Google them after this video, because it's really important that you stay on top of modern technology, because it's growing super, super, super fast. So definitely get ahead of that. And research also who you're interviewing with, but that's a whole side tangent. Another thing that will really catch you off guard, I think, is when someone asks, hey, what was the last rec that you got super stuck on? Why was it hard? How did you fix it? How did you solve it? Don't be put off if someone goes, hey, what was your last placement? Where did you place them? What was their offer? Like, I've been caught off guard sometimes. I haven't had to do that in a while, but a client has asked me that. And I was like, it's like you're in this one mindset to interview, and then they kind of throw you off guard. So have all that stuff up. That's like super, super, super important. Another thing to kind of throw you off is, what if you're working on a rec and you don't understand what kind of a role it is? I'm actually kind of in this position right now. A client reached out to me and said, hey, can you work on this role? And I was like, maybe, I don't know. we're super busy, this is not overlap, but it's a really good client. So I did take that time and said, hey, can you hop on a call and like tell me more about this? Like I see the job description, I see the keywords, but I need to know a little bit more about this in order to speak it, right? In order to then talk to candidates about it and get their intake. And so sure enough, that client hopped on the phone and spent 15, 20 minutes with me on it. And I didn't feel dumb, because the bottom line is it's very, very good to be candid up front when you don't know something. Of course, I Googled things, so I didn't look like a complete idiot, but you have to ask questions and all. And again, the fact that I did Google things made me seem like ahead of the game. So I think that that's really great. Now, one last thing on if you are trying to, get a sourcing job, even get a recruiting job, is someone is going to ask, what do you expect of me and our working relationship? What do you want? Now, this is kind of tricky because this is going to be different for anyone. And I don't think that there's a bad answer here. Well, I guess there's kind of a bad answer in an interview, but really, this is your moment to be honest and tell them what you do want. Do you want to be mentored? Do you want your career to grow? Do you think that there's things to learn? Now, I think that even when you admit that you have things to learn, that doesn't mean that you don't know things, that you're not capable of doing this position. It just means you're honest. Like, I think that one of the most powerful things I've learned in the last couple of years with doing emotional training, emotional intelligence training, is to say, like, look, I'm constantly learning. And that's okay. That's actually a really good thing, because if you say you're done learning, that means you are an expert on everything. I recently filled out this thing for like leadership management training, tangent, but it has you list like, there's 15 different columns or situations, and says like, how do you feel in this one? Like 1 through 10. And I didn't have anything really that was above a 7, because I don't know, I feel like you just don't know it all. So this is that moment to be humble and be honest, but also put that spin on it, because guess what? As anyone in the recruiting industry that's dealing with people, which we are, you are definitely a spin doctor. You are in sales. It's more heartfelt sales, but you do have to sell yourself constantly. And I think that that's the key. And not only sell yourself constantly, you're selling your clients constantly. So you do definitely have to have that spin. So yeah. So I hope that this helped with either if you're trying to hire a sourcer or if you're trying to be a sourcer. I do also think this can help, which is being in recruiting in general, because these are a lot of things to think about. And I've definitely done a few videos on how to get in the recruiting industry altogether, but I really wanted to do this sourcer one because I do think that this is really just getting in there nitty gritty, because if you can be a really good sourcer, you really can be a great recruiter, and then you can be that next millionaire recruiter and really take your career any kind of direction that you want to go, whether or not you do like contingency, which I love, or you like internal, or if now, I have talent perch and that's more of an RPO model. So there's lots of things to do. So definitely go do it, be involved, and also check out the millionairerecruiter.com, which I will be adding new videos to. And I'm also going to be doing this really fun recruiting roundtable. That this is a webinar, but it's very interactive. You do get to ask things and be involved, and I think it's really fun because a lot of different industries come together, which I think is really cool, because tech's not the only cool industry to be in recruiting. It's the one I've lived in forever, but there's a lot of other really cool industries that you can make money on. So keep your eyes open, be focused, and always pay it forward. And do not forget that money is just the vessel that gets you to do all the amazing things that you want to go do. So go do it. See you next Thursday at noon. Bye.